back to my channel after what Donald Trump said. Come and see what is happening right now. The Iranian have scattered and bombed everywhere
for attacks in the United States of America. This is breaking right now. The message got to Trump through an intermediary at the Group of Seven summit in Canada last week, which Trump left early. The communique to Trump was sent to the days before last night's strikes, threatening to activate sleeper cell terror inside the United States if it were attacked. Meanwhile, now the State Department has issued a worldwide alert, issuing worldwide caution as a result of the strikes in Iran, saying that the Department of State advises U.S. citizens worldwide to exercise increased caution. You can read the full travel advisory on their network. Oil prices, meanwhile, continue to jump as a result of the strikes and the potential for the closure of the Strait of Hormuz. This is getting more serious with each passing hour. And the craziest part of it all is we don't even know if Iran's nuclear program was actually destroyed. Spread the word and follow along for more. I'll have more updates soon.
After bombing Iran tonight, bringing the U.S. directly into this war in flagrant violation of international and domestic law, Trump gave this deranged speech.
Our objective was the destruction of Iran's nuclear enrichment capacity and a stop to the nuclear threat posed by the world's #1 state sponsor of terror.
Iran doesn't have nuclear weapons. Even Trump's own intelligence agencies said Iran wasn't building a bomb. You know who does have nuclear weapons? Israel and the U.S. And the U.S. has used them on civilians, incinerating hundreds of thousands in Hiroshima and Nagasaki. And since World War II, the U.S. has directly murdered nearly 10 million people in its wars in Korea, Vietnam, Iraq, Afghanistan, and backed the murder of tens of millions more, supporting death squads, dictatorships, proxy wars throughout the world. Tell me again who's the world's #1 state sponsor of terror?
For 40 years, Iran has been saying death to America, death to Israel. They have been killing our people, blowing off their arms, blowing off their legs with roadside bombs. That was their specialty. We lost over 1,000 people and hundreds of thousands throughout the Middle East.
Apparently this lying motherfucker is now trying to blame Iran for what happened in Iraq. Yes, after illegally invading and occupying Iraq, some American troops were killed by roadside bombs. Most of those bombs were planted by Sunni forces, not the Shiite militias backed by Iran. As for hundreds of thousands killed in the Middle East, it's the U.S., not Iran, the U.S. that murdered nearly 1 million people in Iraq.
This cannot continue. There will be either peace or there will be tragedy for Iran far greater than we have witnessed over the last 8 days. Remember, there are many targets left.
And here we get to the heart of Trump's gangster fascist speech. Do what we say or else. Forget about Iran's sovereignty. Forget about the fact that you're supposed to get congressional approval to start a war. Forget about the danger of escalation, even world war this poses. It's just raw, destructive power. Again, tell me who's the world's #1 state sponsor of terror? As the revolutionary leader Bob Avakian said,
we can no longer afford to allow these imperialists to dominate the world and to determine the destiny of humanity. They need to be overthrown as quickly as possible.
Everyone, everywhere, into the streets. Stop the U.S.-Israeli war of aggression against Iran. The Trump fascist regime must go now.
This is very much happening as we speak. We're getting fresh pictures in from Iranian state television that they say show this attack. The Pentagon says that more than a dozen ballistic missiles were fired at 2 Iraqi bases which house US troops. Earlier today, US bases across the Middle East were placed on high alert to possibly shoot down Iranian forces as intelligence mounted about the real threat of an imminent attack against US targets. It now seems that those fears have been realised. There are no details yet on casualties, as you mentioned. The US military saying they're currently assessing the damage.
Amelia, President Trump promised any attack on US personnel would be met with an extreme response. This is a very worrying development.
Yeah, it absolutely is. Just today, the president spoke from the White House saying the US response to an Iranian attack would be, quote, disproportionate, even threatening to target cultural sites in the country.
متشکرم که در چنین شرایط
سلام علیکم. حال شما؟ بفرمایید.
Well, you join us live in Jerusalem, where we are seeing the first incoming missiles fired from Iran since the US attacks overnight on Iranian nuclear bases. These are the first missiles actually in almost 30 hours.
Alastair Bunkle was live in Jerusalem when the stillness broke. After nearly 30 hours of relative quiet, the skies shifted. Missiles began moving over Israel, marking a significant response from Iran following US operations on key sites overnight. At first, the capital remained calm, no alerts sounded, but visible trails and faint flashes overhead suggested that interception systems were already at work. Most of the activity appeared to be heading towards central and northern Israel, including areas near Tel Aviv and Haifa. This latest development follows a week of back and forth between Iran and Israel, with multiple waves of aerial exchanges reported. What makes this moment different is that it comes immediately after the US carried out targeted actions inside Iran, potentially shifting the scale of regional tensions. As emergency systems activate and residents take precautions, more details are still emerging. For now, the airspace remains active, the response measured, but ongoing. What do you think this means for the wider region, and how should global leaders respond? Let us know below.
To you, Hannah, from a ghostly quiet Tel Aviv, with the entire country currently at its highest level of alertness. The Home Front Command telling people here, do not go to work, do not go to school, do not go outside unless it's absolutely necessary. And already you're seeing people adhere to that, particularly after Israelis got their first taste of Iranian retaliation just a few hours ago. It's the early morning hours in which we saw a pair of missile barrages fired by Iran here at Israel, with impacts taking place across the country, particularly in Haifa, where we're still trying to determine the initial scope of all of the damage and all of the casualties that are coming in. Those numbers remain fluid at this hour, but the anticipation on the ground here from both Israeli officials and everyday citizens is that more is potentially on the way.
If you watch to this moment, what do you think? Do you think what Donald Trump did to Iran is better, is good? Now the US are protesting that Donald Trump should be impeached. He should be impeached because he did not call the Congress before he strike Iran.